So in working through the loss, we're going to now look and see how resolved your losses are. So I'm sure that you probably have thought about some of the loss from the loss checklist that we just discussed. So now we're going to determine how resolved is your loss. So this is where I'm going to ask you a few questions. I want you to keep score of your loss of these questions. So it looks like it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so it's going to be 10 questions. I'm going to read them to you, but then I want you to score them. So it says, let's begin by looking at how far you've come in processing your loss. Considering each loss you listed in the previous exercise one at a time, take this 10-question quiz to see where you're at in your healing process. Circle the number next to the answer that makes sense of you right now. Scoring will be explained after you complete all of the statements. If you want a copy, then I'll make sure and take a picture and send it, and you can download it or screenshot it. So here's the first question. When I think about loss, I feel 1, calm, but a little sad sometimes. 2, I don't think about it. 3, numb. 4, overwhelmed and or furious. Number 2, I have talked about this loss with 1, anyone who would benefit from knowing about it. 2, a counselor, therapist, or spiritual advisor, as well as loved ones. 3, only my very closest friends and or family members. And then 4, nobody knows about this loss. 3, when I talk about the loss, 1, I get emotional at times. I share how I'm feeling with another person I'm talking to. 2, I'm very a matter of fact. Nothing affects me. 3, I don't talk about the loss. 4, I become emotionally overwhelmed and shut down. How many people do that? I'm sure a lot. All right. Question number, who we on? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. I have dreams related to loss. 1, once in a while. 2, never or almost. 3, pretty often. 4, almost every night. 5, at the time of loss, the people closest to me, 1, talk to me about the loss and about their own emotions and experiences to help me feel safe in expressing myself. 2, tried to be there for me but were too overwhelmed and couldn't handle it. I focused on their needs and taking care of them more than I did myself. How many people are that person? 3, shut down and avoided talking about the loss. Sent the message that my feelings about loss should be kept to myself, or maybe it was wrong altogether. 4, there wasn't anyone close to me during that time of loss. So 6, after loss, I took action. 1, right away and felt the ready need to do something. 2, a shorter time later. 3 months later, and I was in a fog over quite a while. And then 4, I still haven't taken any action steps. Next one, even though I've experienced a significant amount of loss, giving back to the community, 1, is important for me to feel like I can help others. 2, is important, but I'd rather wait a little while first. 3, not important. I'd rather just stay away from community activities. And 4, it's not important at all. What's the point? Next question. Since the loss, I've been able to find meaning. 1, most days I'm feeling all right, on the right track. 2, once in a while. 3, not very often. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to make sense of my loss. 4, not at all. I cannot make sense of my loss. So this one must be 9. Since the loss, my family and I are 1, close. We touch base often. 2, pretty close. I feel like there's support there if I need it. 3, distant. We don't talk much. Or 4, estranged. I'm pretty mad. And then the last question is, in regard to this loss, I feel 1, sometimes sad but mostly at peace. 2, deep, powerful, and sadness. 4, self-blame, a sense of responsibility, guilt, shame, or regret. And 4, numb, closed off, everything seems dark. So, let me tell you how you scored. So, your loss score, next to each answer, gather up all the numbers that you circled in your total score. Remember, even if you have to go a long way in resolving losses, okay? So you're going to score them all up. All the 1s, all the 2s, all the 3s, all the 4s, all the 5s. Okay, then you're going to add them up. So if you scored 10 to 20 points, good job. You passed your loss well. There's still some work to do, but you are well on your way to a healthy recovery from your loss. 21 to 30 points, you may still be struggling with some of the feelings about loss. Still have a significant impact on you, and there's still work that needs to be done. 31 to 40 points, this loss is completely unresolved. It's causing you a lot of unnecessary pain and struggle. And at time, it's a good look to get moving forward. You're going to probably need to complete this next worksheet thoroughly to see exactly how the loss has been affecting you. All right, so that next exercise brings us into the loss impact worksheet. So, it's really not until we really sit down and understand the impact that something has had on you, right? When you think about drinking, let's just take drinking for example. And you seeing drinking, like when's the first time you seen somebody drink around you? 9 times out of 10, you probably didn't think nothing was wrong because maybe you seen it when you was young. And so you just assumed that it was adult drink because 9 times out of 10, you were told, this is adult drink. You don't drink this. It's not like you didn't worry about what was in there, right? So we also know that things that we're told not to do are tend to be the things that we tend to obsess on a bit and want to try, and so we also then have to look at the impact that those things, even prior to us trying, what they had on us, especially as adults. So if I could go back and think about, when did I first see alcohol? What was the people around's relationship with alcohol? Was they having a good time? Was it very violent? Was it, was it party? Was it when family was around? That's going to be the way that your mind formulates its thoughts about alcohol, right? If you've seen it and mom was always passed out or was always fighting, you may not like what alcohol did. You may not like how alcohol feel. It may have had a very bad impact on you. Doesn't mean that it's going to stop you from using it, right? However, your thoughts about it. Now, granted, if you've seen a person self-medicating, right, which is, I say, trying to avoid something by using it, well, that is going to determine whether or not you're going to be more probable to do that too, right? If we grow up in a home and mom is sick and mom is popping pills, if we don't never associate the fact that her illness requires those pills versus just the fact that she's taking those pills, well, we might think that the moment that we're sick, we take pills too, because that would be the impact that you seeing that at such a young age took on you. You formulated your own thought. So sometimes we have to, as parents, help to provide the misconceptions to a child's thought, which is the reason why invoking conversation is good, because not only do you get to see where a person is at in their head with the situation, but then that allows for you to be able to go in and provide interpretive guidelines to kind of how they're thinking, and to give them some other ways to think outside of, them formulating that and not necessarily knowing how to put 2 and 2 together. So It's important for us to go, whenever we go through anything, for us to go back and examine and take a cultural assessment in how something impacted us, whether that be a relationship, whether that be drugs and alcohol, what we've seen as a child, the loss that we experience, which we're talking about now. It's going to be important for you to go back and for you to take a cultural assessment on there. Too many times we try to move forward so fast that we move forward, but yet again, we've done no healing. So the next time we experience loss, it's going to be 10 times worse than what it has to be, primarily because we didn't do the work back there. We didn't do the work to understand how things impacted us. So this next worksheet really walks us through in understanding, stating your loss, and then considering the influence of your loss that had on other areas of your life. So this is going to be important for you to take, especially that significant loss. But if you could take those at least 5 or 6 that you name and write down spirituality, social life, ideals about relationships, schoolwork, eating and sleeping, family life. How did it impact that? I'm sure from Christina's story in losing her father out of the home, spiritually, that's a broken vow. So she may have lost hope in relationship, which is the reason why her relationship ended in divorce. Her social life, we already know that it took a toll on her social life because she lost her friends. Right? The people that she once communicated with. Again, it's asking about ideals of relationship. Does relationships really last? Do you, depending on what her mom went through, she may feel like that's the only reason why you do divorce is because of something like that, or maybe she shouldn't have divorced. So it's going to shape your ideals about relationships. If school or work. Were you in school at the time? Were you in work at the time? If you've seen people not going to school and a loss of, school time, how did that affect you? Right? How did your loss affect your eating and sleeping? Did it make you eat less? Did it make you eat more? Did it make you binge eat? Did it make you eat unhealthy things? Did it make you, did it suppress your appetite? Did it enhance it? Family life, did it bring you closer? Did it make you more distant? Did it make you remorseful that you even said anything at all? So we have to understand that, listen, these things, how did it affect your mood? How did it affect your sense of security and safety? That's a big one. How you see yourself, right? Imagine a person being raped. Innocence taken from them. How do I see myself within the lieu of that loss? What is my shadow image telling me? Is it telling me I'm not worthy? I'm not worthy of being safe? I'm not worthy of somebody caring about me or making sure that I'm safe? That goes on with you in life. So this is why it's very, very, very important for us to go back and to examine and take assessment of the impact that our loss has taken upon us. So that is where we're going to leave it today. And what we're going to do next time is we're going to finish out this chapter. And then we're going to go back to chapter 1 where we're talking a little bit more about what mindfulness is. So I want to do this activity though real quick before we get off of here. So this activity is going to be for 1 minute. And this is just one of those activities when you need to clear your mind. It teaches you how to be present. It teaches you, just a skill, because we always want to use these. We want to add more skills to our toolbox, like adding tools. It's going to make us more versified, and it's going to be, everything don't always work for everything. So the more tools we got, the more versified we are, and we can go pick which one we know work. Okay, so in this activity, we're listening for sounds because mindfulness is about being present. So one way of being present is to try to do things that keep you present. So in this activity, we're listening for sounds. So for every sound you hear, I want you to make a mark on your paper. And every time that the mind begins to go off on a tangent or somewhere else than the sound, then I want you to make a 0. And then I don't want you to follow the thought. I want you to be very careful in not following the thought or whatever comes to your mind, I need you to bring your mind back to the sounds that we're looking for. All right, the goal is the sound. Keep the mind on the sound. If it drifts off, don't follow the thought, but bring the mind back. Okay. You may notice that you may drift off a few times, and that's okay. The goal is to continue to practice this a couple of times a day, a couple of times a week, and you'll get better and better at it. So let's go. So on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, that's about a minute. I heard 3 sounds. How many sounds did you hear? And my mind didn't really drift off. My mind really didn't drift off. So this is a simple strategy of mindfulness, just a simple way that you can take 1 minute out of your day and really focus on something without being mentally interrupted by something else. That is how we start out practicing how to be mindful. Now keep in mind, you always want to work on your breath and focus on your breath, because when you're focusing on your breath, it's actually impossible to kind of focus on other things. So we really didn't pay attention to our breath today, which is okay, because I just wanted to teach you that skill. So make sure you do your homework. Make sure you really get down in deep. This is where a lot of that shadow work is, a lot of shadow self, understanding yourself. The first line of defense is self. There has to be a level of self-knowledge. If you don't know about yourself, then how can somebody else know you? How can they know to love you, right? So take this time. This is what you call self-care, and really work through those exercises that we did, and think about some of the things that we talked about today in group. And I will meet you back here next week. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment area. Leave me a comment. Let me know how I did. And, share this video. This is actually, you're getting some therapy for free. Online. You can come to this video whenever you want to. You can share with your homegirls and your friends. And if you want me to specifically talk about anything, then let me know and I'll put something together. But in the meantime, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you back here. Thanks.